Plants vs Zombies Replanted. I wasn't originally going to make a video on this game because I didn't really have any interesting points of discussion to add on top of what was already being discussed. But recently I've been seeing a fair bit of unjustified negative criticism for the game and sometimes just straight up misinformation. So I just wanted to make this video to kind of provide a more balanced perspective, if you will. Also, at the end of the day, it is just my opinion in this video. If my opinion changes your opinion, great, but at the end of the day, you're still entitled to be hyped or not hyped over this game, independent of what I'm saying here. But by making this video, I just wanted to make sure that more people were aware of the positives of this game, when it seems like a lot of the talk, especially online, is about the negatives. Anyway, I hope that makes sense. We're gonna hop onto the Plants vs Zombies subreddit to have a look at what people are saying there. So let's get to it. The first thing I want to clear up right away is that this isn't just a HD port of the original game. I mean, a lot of people are saying this, like this post saying Plants vs Zombies Replanted is just a HD port of the original game with multiplayer, nearly 400 upvotes. That's actually not true at all. This is misinformation. But I don't blame anyone for saying this or believing this because that's all that was shown in the actual trailer, which really confused me, but that's a whole other thing. So obviously not this person's fault for saying this. I don't blame anyone for believing it. It's on EA and PopCap to better communicate what's actually in the game. But as we'll soon cover, there's actually a lot more stuff in this game. It's not just a HD port. And someone down here in the reply says it's actually a port of the Xbox/PS3 version, since it had versus mode and other stuff. That's also not true. There's even more content in this game that's never been seen before. This isn't just an upgraded graphics port of an old game. This has new content in it. Again, I can see how people would believe this. I'm not blaming anyone for saying this stuff, but it's just not true. If you actually go to the Steam listing of the game, or just the listing on whichever console you're buying it on, it actually has all of the features there. You got these first 4 points. It's basically just saying, remake of Plants vs Zombies, HD, co-op versus. This is all stuff we've seen before, yet ironically was the only stuff mentioned in the trailer. So all of this juicy stuff we've never seen before, not mentioned. I don't know why. So again, it's not anyone's fault for believing that these first 4 points are all there is, because that's all they told us. But now we actually have access to all this stuff, so let's just go through it. Unlock visual options through the Tree of Wisdom, updated with convenient on-off toggles. So I've heard people are just saying this is just the cheats from the first game. Fair enough. Then they say here they've got the Cloudy Day mode, which is a new hard kind of mode where there's less sun. That's cool. Rest in Peace, which is a hardcore mode. Once you die, you go back to the beginning. There's another thing I want to mention about these points, because I don't see many people talking about this, but if you actually look at the preview picture, you got here RIP mode, and it's a toggle. It's like a lever, so you push the lever, you toggle it on. And over here you got Cloudy Day as a separate thing entirely. So theoretically, I don't see why you can't do RIP mode and Cloudy Day mode at the same time to make it some kind of really hard challenge. That's something I don't see people talking about. People are just saying, Cloudy Day isn't hard enough, RIP mode doesn't change anything because you never lose anyway. But if you combine those two modes together, I reckon that could be pretty good. But again, that's just a theory, just based on what I'm seeing. And then another thing over here, we got bonus levels. That's another thing that I think people gloss over a bit. Like, the people who are saying it's just a HD port of the console versions, we've got new levels. This says bonus levels. There's we don't know what it is yet, but I don't really see how you could justify saying, oh, it's just Plants vs Zombies in HD, when there's literally brand new levels. Something I've also seen a little bit is people are saying like, oh, this is just PopCap being lazy and this is just the bare minimum they could have done. I'm sorry, but if they wanted to do the bare minimum, they could have done the bare minimum. They could have just made a HD upgraded graphics version of the Game of the Year edition, pushed it out and said, there's your Plants vs Zombies 1 remake. That did not happen. They've gone out of their way to add several new modes, new content. Sure, there could be more stuff. There could be the online versus and co-op, and I've seen people say a lot. I actually agree there. That would be a really cool feature which they haven't added, and that does detriment the game a little bit, but I just can't see the argument for this being PopCap doing the bare minimum when they're definitively not doing the bare minimum. They're adding stuff they didn't need to. I didn't see anyone asking for new game modes and stuff and new levels. Another thing I've been seeing a little bit of is people saying like, oh, I want a new game. I don't want a Plants vs Zombies 1 remake. And it's like, we've been asking for this for years. for people to then just say, I want a new game, like this is just laziness, this is just a remake of Plants vs Zombies 1. It's like, okay, would you rather Plants vs Zombies 3? Like seriously, would you rather the Plants vs Zombies 3 versions they're putting out? Because that's the new stuff they would be making if they weren't making this. The price point is another point that I've been seeing a lot of talk about, and I have some opinions on this. So people are saying, do you guys think that 20 euros is too much for Plants vs Zombies Replanted? Or 20 USD if you're in America? My answer is no. Sure, it could be a little bit cheaper, but I don't see anything wrong with a $20 Plants vs Zombies remake. Here's why. Some people have been saying that the original game released at $20 in 2009, so this game shouldn't be $20 now, and that's just not how money works. How much is $20 in 2009 worth now? As you can see here, $20 in 2009 is worth $30 today. So if Plants vs Zombies 1 were released right now, it would have sold at $30, not $20. So we're already getting a remake of Plants vs Zombies with more content, better graphics, for 2/3 of the price of the original game when it released in 2009. And this is also a point that's a bit biased towards the Plants vs Zombies community, Plants vs Zombies players in general, because that's assuming that everyone who's buying Replanted already bought Plants vs Zombies, and that they're just buying the same game again for the same price, even though, as I've just shown, it's not the same price and it's not the same game either. And the reason I say it's biased is because not everyone has Plants vs Zombies. A lot of people who are going to be getting these remakes are people who've never played Plants vs Zombies, people who are just picking it up for the first time. So compared to people who were buying it in 2009, these people who are going to be buying the remake are going to be buying a game that has more content, better graphics, and is cheaper. So they're just going to have a better Plants vs Zombies experience. They're going to be getting a better game, a better package compared to the people who bought the game for the first time back in the day when the only option was the original Plants vs Zombies. Whether or not you think it's worth the money it costs on top of Game of the Year edition on Steam for if you're buying it on PC, that's up to interpretation really. This is the same kind of criticism I saw for Pokemon Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl when those games came out. People were looking at it through only the lens of Pokemon fans who have already played Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. Yes, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl don't add anything new on top of the original games, but that doesn't mean that it's a bad game. The Gen 4 Pokemon games were good games. So just buying the same game with different graphics, it's still a good game. It's only a bad game if you've already played the originals or you played Pokemon Platinum. So if you look at those games individually for what they are instead of in the context of the originals, they're still great games. They're still worth the money in my opinion. So I think it's the same kind of thing with Plants vs Zombies here. If you look at Plants vs Zombies Replanted in the context of the original and compare how much new content and whatever is added, sure, you could say that Plants vs Zombies Replanted might not be worth it, but if you're looking at it from the perspective of new fans and kids who are growing up who never played the original and playing this one for the first time, it's still a great game because it's just Plants vs Zombies, the game we all love, the classic, with more stuff added and better graphics. So I think it's absolutely worth the cost. But if you've already bought and played the original, that's where it's up to personal interpretation. Do you want to buy it with the new content added? That's up to you. Another point of contention here is the skins. Now, I've been seeing people saying that this is a bad thing, that skins are bad because they're going to be monetizing skins, and I'm actually going to maybe somewhat controversially say, if they choose to monetize skins, out of all things, that is a good thing. That is the best case scenario. Like, before you get out your pitchforks, hear me out. Skins, in my opinion, are the most user-friendly thing possible that game companies can monetize with microtransactions. If it's just purely cosmetic, it doesn't affect the gameplay at all, then people who are willing to fork out the extra money don't get any kind of strategical or gameplay experience. It's purely cosmetic and decorative. Like Fortnite, for example. You can buy a bunch of skins, but to my knowledge, you don't buy better weapons and whatnot. You don't get an advantage from paying more. You just get a cosmetic upgrade. I think that's almost completely harmless. If they're going to monetize anything, then we should be really happy that they're adding these skins. Now, we don't know for certain that they're adding more skins or if it's literally just this pre-order bonus, which, again, more content that's not in the original. Some people might be saying it's a bad thing if they monetize skins because they don't want anything monetized at all. It's already a $20 game, you're already paying to play it, you shouldn't have to pay more for more stuff. But let's not forget what happened with Battlefront 2 a few years back, again, released by the same publisher, EA. So they're definitely no stranger to monetizing characters and things that functionally change the game beyond just cosmetics in full-price AAA games. If you want an example that's a bit closer to home, look no further than Garden Warfare 2 with the Z7 imp and a Twilight Chomper. I wouldn't put it past EA to fully monetize actual characters or the equivalent of premium plants in this game. So if you look at it from that perspective, then I think people should be celebrating that these skins are going to be the only thing monetized, assuming they are. I mean, if they monetize more stuff on top of just the skins, I might be less optimistic, and if they do choose to monetize skins and it brings them a bit of extra income, who knows, maybe that'll just get Plants vs Zombies back on EA's radar, or they could put that extra income towards funding updates or new games even. Now, obviously I'm not saying I'm a fan of monetizing anything at all, but again, if they were to monetize anything, which as I've explained using the context of those other EA games, they definitely will, then out of all things, if they choose to monetize the skins, it can't really get much better than that, so I don't see this as a bad thing at all. And one last point, it's about the whole controversy with Rich Werner and all the developers of the original Plants vs Zombies not getting reached out to. Morally, is it a bit ambiguous? Yeah, I mean, they could have reached out to them, let them know about it, maybe even gotten them involved in some way. It does kind of suck, I mean, there's no sugarcoating that. But did EA or PopCap have any obligation to do this? Absolutely not. These developers, like Rich Werner for example, Laura Shigihara the composer, all those people, they did their job, they made their assets and everything. PopCap use those assets, they have the rights to them. At the end of the day, there's no legality or obligation involved here. And as long as they're on the credit scene, that's all that EA has to do. I mean, could they have done more to involve the original devs? Yes. But is it a surprise that they didn't? I don't think so. I don't think anyone should be surprised that this happened. Does it kind of suck? Yeah, if I was in Rich Werner's shoes, for example, I wouldn't be too happy either. But at the end of the day, it's kind of just a wishful thinking to think that EA was ever going to get the original creators involved when they could just get someone else to do it for cheaper. So yeah, that's about all I wanted to say really. I mean, the game hasn't come out yet obviously, so things can change and all that, but that's just my opinion on the game, given what we know so far. If this video changed your opinion or made you a little bit more optimistic about the game in general, then great, but if it didn't, again, that's your opinion, that's totally fine. This was my opinion. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments, and yeah, that's about it.